Hey everyone. For many years I have pondered the notion of happiness. What is happiness? Where does it come from? How do we find it? How do we get it? Or how do we feel it? And I think if I'm being honest, I've always been a very unhappy person. It's not about what I have or what I don't, about life or about who I love or who I don't, or any of that. It's not about the criterion of my life. It's just who I am. It's my identity. The sullen little girl with no smile. That's who I have always been and probably who I will continue to be. And so the notion of happiness tends to mystify me. I think that we tend not to realize we're unhappy because misery can become the status quo. Life is the way life is. We get used to that and we really do know no different. We either get happy and then we realize that we never were because of the difference we feel within ourselves, or we are asked the question, are you happy? Am I happy? For the first time we ever think about it and we ask ourselves, soul-searchingly, am I happy? Often the answer can be no. When we think about things that induce happiness, such as people or relationships or items or possessions, is the happiness from these events really true happiness? Because life is so transitory and things change and people change, we ourselves change. And because these feelings of happiness can often be short-lived because people change or events happen that change our happiness levels, was it ever really true happiness? And so where does happiness come from? Many different things make each individual happy in different ways and to different extents. What makes me happy might not necessarily make you happy and vice versa. But where does happiness actually source from? Some people think that happiness is found within ourselves, within our soul or our hearts, either naturally in existence or by choice. If we make the decision to be happy and to live life as such, perhaps true happiness in the end will be ours. But is that the whole story? Is that where happiness originates? If so, and happiness is indeed found within ourselves, why can some people, or even all people at some point in their lives, why can they be so miserable? Therefore, perhaps happiness comes from somewhere else. Other people think that happiness comes from God, or their religion, or what they believe in. And for some people this is very true because they take great pleasure in the praises of God, and they are very happy to be loved by God and to believe in whatever it is they believe in, no matter if that's religion or a set of principles or morals or whatever it is. But even religious people can be exceptionally miserable. Sometimes they can be more miserable than people of no faith because they feel what they believe in should automatically make them happy. When they have a hole in their heart that is filled by God, by their religion, by what you believe in, whatever that is, then they think they should be happy, and often they feel very guilty because they're not happy when they feel they should be. Now, of course, to me, that's faulty thinking. No guilt should be felt because you're unhappy, because there's no obligation to feel happy, and there's no expectation of happiness when you take on a set of beliefs. But sometimes religious people especially feel that they're not entitled to feelings of misery. And even that can make them even more miserable. When some people say that other people make them happy and that their lovers or their friends or their family makes them happy, sometimes that is very frowned upon. I'm not sure why, but it could be because people expect a certain amount of individual input towards their own state of mind. And if you get your happiness from elsewhere, you're not trying to be happy yourself. And for some people that's disappointing. But I think that happiness can come from our relationships with others. There are many benefits from having close unions with others, such as mutual support, encouragement, confidence, the sharing of fun times, company to commiserate with, and, all these benefits and things we get from friendships and relationships. Hearts are tended to and nurtured to by others. And so I think a great deal of our happiness can indeed come from other people. And that is a great thing. I think it's very important that we do rely on each other for happiness and for many things, if only in part, because people are a collective beast, so to speak. Many unhappy people tend to be very lonely people. And those people tend to have nobody to raise them up when they're down and to cheer them on and to encourage them. And I think that loneliness is perhaps one of the biggest perpetrators of sadness and of unhappiness. It is the ultimate joy stealer, the ultimate heart crusher. Loneliness is, for me, perhaps the worst emotion of all. But when we meet new people and we make new friendships and our roots within society, perhaps, the society of friendship, begin to bloom and blossom and grow, we get a little happier because our loneliness is a little bit decreased. Perhaps love makes us happy. How about love? Now, by that I don't mean any particular kind of love. I mean any love at all, because love is love is love, and it really doesn't matter. It's all love. And when we receive love, we can become very happy. And when it's taken away, either by choice or by circumstance or even by death, we often become very unhappy. So, if what we lose makes us unhappy, perhaps what we gain will make us happy. But then again, we all gain things in relationships that can make us deeply unhappy as well. Or perhaps as unhappy as they make us happy. Sometimes people we love can make us very unhappy. So perhaps love is only a contributor to what makes us happy. And it's not the be-all and end-all, even though it's very important. So it is clear that happiness can be found and sourced from many different places and in many different ways, as numerous as the reasons we are happy at all. And I am sure that what makes you and I happy will be very different. We will have found our happiness in very different ways and in many different places. And even how we define happiness, well, that will vary greatly. I also feel that because happiness in part is at least sourced from people, our friends or our family or even a stranger, then it is our obligation to do whatever we can to make others happy. Now, I don't mean that we should all go on a mighty crusade or that we are solely responsible for the happiness of others. For example, I would never expect a rape victim to feel responsible for his or her rapist. But what I mean is the kind and compassionate act to bring joy to others, the old adage of, if you see someone without a smile, give them one of yours. Even a simple smile can change a sad heart into a hopeful one. Now, I am not a very forthcoming person. I'm very shy and I don't make small talk with cashiers. I don't communicate very well with anybody, not even my friends, especially not my family. And yet I have this great desire to make other people happier than they are. This great desire to bring a little ray of sunshine into their lives to whoever needs it, even a stranger. And yet I find reaching out very hard, so sometimes I have to give myself a little kick up the backside to do so. And it not only makes me a better person in my judgment, but it also makes me feel a little happier. Now, there's this lady at my local supermarket, and I like to go to her cashier, till, checkout, whatever you like to call it. I like to go to her because she's just so darn smiley. She's so lovely and very welcoming, and she is as delightful at the start of the day as she is the end of the day, at the end of the day as she is the start of the day. She could have been scanning groceries all day, making small talk with strangers, listening to their stories, about their lives and things, and she deals with the rude and the arrogant and the downright nasty, and yet she is the most delightful person. What I mean is she's a public servant to the great unwashed, and yet this lady makes you feel like the most important person in that store. It's a big store, tons of people going through, and yet she makes you feel special because that's a quirk of her personality. And so the other day she was handing me my change and she waved me goodbye and, as far as she was concerned, our transaction was concluded. And yet, I just had to say to her, "Excuse me, but can I just say you are the nicest checkout lady that I have ever met. Thank you for being so kind." That's very out of my character. Though I feel these things inside, I very rarely reach out and say so. And ladies and gentlemen, there are just no words for the beautiful smile that lady gave me. She looked bowled over by the compliment, and truly you could see that her day was made. And with what? A simple, truthful statement? It was hard for me to reach out to that woman and tell her how I felt. I even stumbled over my words. And yet it made her so happy. It made her so happy. The following week I passed by her station and she gave me yet another beautiful smile, even though she wasn't serving me. I'd already been served. She noticed me. She remembered me for my kindness, and she was happy to see me again. But you know, the smile she gave me made me happy too. It made my day for somebody to smile at me. And she was beaming. All because somebody said she was nice. We can do so much with so little, and it's amazing. It really is amazing. So I'd like to know, are you happy? And I don't want an immediate answer. I want you to search your soul, because sometimes immediacy is often the perpetrator of error and misjudgment. Are you happy? When I ask myself that, I have to answer no. No, I'm not happy. But yet I know I have people in my life who make me happy. I have hobbies and interests and things that make me happy. But at my core, when the superficial have been washed away, am I happy? No. Can anyone change that? No. Perhaps I can. So I'd like to hear what makes you happy. Who makes you happy? What is happiness to you? What does it mean to you, and where do you find your happiness? What role does it play in your life? Do you even need to be happy? Or is happiness simply a luxury surplus? You tell me. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now. I'm happy, can't you see? I'm all